Hello and welcome to episode 9 of Movie Talks. My name is Daniel.
And I'm Jared.
And today we'll be talking about Star Wars Episode 8, The Last Jedi.
My calculations are correct. When this baby hits 88 miles per hour, you're gonna see some serious
All right, so we are here to talk about Star Wars, perhaps the most anticipated movie of the year and maybe of the next few years to come. The Last Jedi, it's here. It's a Star Wars movie.
It is, yeah.
Man, I don't know about you, but sitting in that theater and seeing A Long Time Ago in a Galaxy Far, Far Away, and then just hearing the score just pound on the screen.
No matter what's to come, whether the movie's good or bad, that moment is always just like, yes.
It's so special to be able to experience it genuinely, because clearly we weren't in the theater when episode 4, episode 5, episode 6 came out. But to be able to share in the history of Star Wars like we were able to on Thursday night was just incredible. And thankfully, this Star Wars movie was good.
Mm-hmm. Yes. So, first of all, this will be a spoiler review. We will be going right into spoilers since most everybody sees these movies, and everyone wants to hear about spoiler talk. So
yeah. So if you haven't seen it, go see it as soon as possible and jump right back in with us right now. Yeah. So just to kind of get started off, there have been a lot of Star Wars movies. Some have been good, some have been bad, some have been kind of in between. But we wanted to kind of do a little game, and so I guess it could be called a lightning round, kind of. We've each written 5 questions for each other pertaining to Star Wars. It could be anything from characters to music to planets. And so we don't know each other's questions, and we're just going to go back and forth really quick and just answer them with the first thing that pops into our head. So do you want to go all 5 in a row or alternate?
We'll alternate.
Okay.
You can start.
All right, so I will start off. My first question, Daniel, what is your favorite Star Wars planet?
Either Hoth or Dagobah.
Okay.
It's got to be something from Empire.
Yeah.
What's your favorite Star Wars character? Who is your favorite Star Wars character?
I'm going to go mainstream. I love Han Solo.
Yeah, okay, good.
All right. What's your favorite theme in Star Wars? Pertaining to music.
I mean, of course, just the Star Wars theme, the movie, the song that opens up every single Star Wars movie, Darth Vader's theme. It's probably one of those.
Okay, all right.
So who's your favorite character in this new trilogy?
Okay, it has to be Kylo Ren.
Yes.
Adam Driver is just phenomenal.
Yes.
Okay.
And we'll be talking about him later for sure.
So this next question for me pertains to all 8 films thus far, or 9 if you include Rogue One.
Yeah.
Who's your favorite villain?
Well, I guess it has to be Darth Vader.
Okay.
Kylo Ren is quickly moving up the ranks in like my overall villains of all time, really.
Yeah, but I'd have to agree with you there.
Who is one character, and I'm excluding the prequels here, because an answer would most likely come from there, that you would like to eliminate from the saga?
Wow. Entirely. Just, they're gone.
Yeah, just they're gone.
I'm going to have to go with Rose from episode 8.
That's honestly what I was expecting.
Yeah. Okay. So number 4 for me bounces off of number 3. Who's your favorite hero?
Oh, Han Solo for sure. Yeah, he's my favorite. He's flat out my favorite character in Star Wars. So yeah, he has to be my favorite hero. Okay, so who would you have liked to direct episode 9 if it weren't Abrams?
Wow. Oh man, I was not expecting this question.
Yeah.
Oh man, episode 9.
Tarantino.
As much as I would love for that to happen, I think there might be some backlash.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
Oh man. I don't know. Part of me wants to say Christopher Nolan, but then another part of me doesn't, because I think it would just get entirely complicated. The color scheme wouldn't work. Just because I'm drawing an a complete blank right now. I think I'd have to go with maybe Joss Whedon.
Okay.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm drawing a complete blank right now.
Yeah.
Spielberg is an obvious choice, but I don't think that would happen.
Yeah.
But okay, I'm changing my answer. Spielberg, all the way. Spielberg.
Yeah. It's just like who would you have liked? Okay. So yeah.
All right. My number 5 question. This one's gonna be good. I think it's clearly narrowed down to 2, but if you could remake one of the Star Wars movies, which one would it be?
Okay, so. Well, I'm not gonna touch the original trilogy.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a wise decision.
And I'm probably not gonna touch either of these 2 most recent ones. Mm-hmm. And I'm not gonna include Rogue One.
Yeah.
See, what's difficult about this question is, if I choose a prequel, I can't choose all the prequels, so I gotta pick which prequel.
Mm-hmm. It's a tough question.
Okay, so I'm gonna pick Revenge of the Sith, even though it's my favorite of the prequels.
Okay.
Because that's the most important prequel, I think. That's really the only one that needed to be made in the first place. So if we have a good episode 3, then it's like it's okay. We can just forget about 1 and 2 entirely.
That's an interesting take. I have to say I didn't think of that, but I agree with you actually. I think I would have said Phantom Menace just because I think I would want more Darth Maul in it. Get rid of young Anakin.
Yeah.
Trade Federation disputes and tariffs and stuff. And for how bad Attack of the Clones is, I think it does have some good moments.
Yeah, they all do, but it's just
interesting. Revenge of the Sith. That's a really smart pick. Mm-hmm. I think.
Yeah. I'm glad you think so.
Yeah.
Okay, so my last question: what is your favorite scene in a Star Wars movie?
Wow. Favorite scene. You know what? I am gonna turn back the clock to episode 1 of Movie Talks.
Oh, and go back to your
where I talked about the best Star Wars movie, A New Hope. And let's see what I have written down for my favorite moment, just so I don't contradict myself. Oh man. Oh, trash compactor scene.
That's your favorite of all ever?
I think so. Okay. Just because of how we get to see the traits of every character in their purest form, I think. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I mean, honestly, would you have said the battle on Hoth?
Probably. Yeah. I mean, honestly, there have been some amazing scenes in the most recent Star Wars movies, even from Rogue One, like the last scene of Rogue One, Darth Vader.
That's a really good
honestly
scene.
Up there. The movie Rogue One, it's definitely not in my like top 5 Star Wars movies, but it had some pretty incredible moments. But yeah, Battle of Hoth would probably have been my choice.
All right.
Cool.
Yeah, those were good questions. Okay, so now let's jump into The Last Jedi, Episode 8. And once again, we are going to go into full spoilers.
Yes.
So, I think there's no better way to start than with the opening crawl.
Okay.
What did you think?
I thought the opening crawl was pretty fantastic.
Okay.
It was written by Rian Johnson. Of course, he wrote the script too. Mm-hmm. And it really sets up that opening scene really well. You know, it's got the whole, it leads into the rebels escaping, and it's got this ... Yeah.
I have to say, as soon as I read the last paragraph, I was worried. I thought...
You're worried?
I was worried. I thought we were going to get The Empire Strikes Back again. Because, I mean, the Battle of Hoth, it starts, the rebels have escaped, but here comes the Empire. They're closing in, and that's pretty much how this one starts. But that's not what we got. Thankfully, Rian Johnson knows what he's doing, and he's such a bold filmmaker, I think.
Yes.
I have very, very strong respect for him after choosing to take this beloved saga in a not necessarily a new direction, but this film is his.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
He made Looper and Brick, Joseph Gordon-Levitt. Mm-hmm. And then he also made a few Breaking Bad episodes, and he also made my favorite Breaking Bad episode.
Wait.
Yeah.
Okay, does he come in later? Like season 5?
He comes in later.
Okay.
He makes 2 from season 5 and 1 from season 3.
I just watched last night. I'm halfway through season 3, and I watched the episode "The Fly."
That's the one he directed. That's one he directed.
The Fly, really?
Yeah.
Okay, that explains why I love it so much. It's a really good
great.
episode.
It's great.
I think it's so clever, and it's so subtly humorous.
Yeah, and it's a filler episode, but it's like it's the best filler episode like ever.
Yeah, the situational comedy is so good, and I think that's kind of a good segue into The Last Jedi, because it does try to take a slightly comedic tone.
Yeah, I saw an interview just before we started recording this, actually, and he said he wanted to take the movie in a different direction that we'd never seen before, but he wanted to maintain like the Star Wars feel, and he thought humor was a really important aspect of what makes Star Wars Star Wars.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would agree. I do think, though, a lot of the humor in Star Wars does come from the situation and the characters, and I felt like in this one it was a lot more dialogue driven. So to me, it didn't feel as organic in scenes. I thought that one of the biggest jokes, and the one that definitely got the biggest laugh in our theater, was when Rey was with Luke and he said "reach out." And that was very funny. But then there's the kind of humor that this wasn't dialogue driven, but at the end, whenever Luke exits the base and the AT-ATs start firing on him, and then he emerges and he just goes like that. I was like, okay.
That got the biggest. I've seen this twice. That got the biggest laugh last night.
Okay.
I thought that was probably the funniest part too.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know. For me, it didn't necessarily land, because in the original trilogy, I didn't see Luke as kind of a wisecracker. That was kind of Han Solo.
Okay. Unfortunately, I can't cite my source on this. I forgot where I heard this from, but someone was making the comment that Yoda in the prequels was a very serious character. And it's when we meet him in The Empire Strikes Back that he's like really just goofy. And someone was theorizing that like that's exactly what happened to Luke.
Okay.
Like he's like we see him and he's just making jokes and just like not taking everything completely seriously.
Okay, I see that there are clear examples of that, but then there's also there's a really hardened feel surrounding him when Rey finds him on that island, and he's not very receptive or joking at all. He's just saying, "Go away! I want no part of this." And so,
but then again, that's what Yoda does to Luke in Empire when he's like, remember when Obi-Wan comes, like Obi-Wan starts talking, like of course he's dead at that point.
Yeah.
And convinces Yoda to train him, but he was completely opposed to the idea before that.
Okay. So the opening scene after the opening crawl is, I think, very good. They introduce a new ship for the First Order, the Dread, which I thought was really, really cool. What'd you think of the opening battle?
I thought it was one of the best opening action scenes I've seen in a long time.
Okay.
Not just in a Star Wars movie, especially the second time around when you know what you're getting into, and it just gets right into it. You know, that the opening shot, I'm always curious to see what the opening shot of a Star Wars movie is.
Definitely.
The way it just zooms down through those whatever they're called, the ships that are taking people to, what's it called? Like a rescue, whatever.
Like escape pods?
Yeah, like escape pods.
Okay.
That's what
Okay. I thought it was really good as well. I loved how we got close-up shot, not necessarily close-up shots, but a central focus on Poe Dameron's X-Wing. I thought the way that because most of the time when we see Star Wars ships flying around, it's kind of steady movements, but he's whipping U-turns and stuff, and I thought it was really cool to see how dynamic these ships can actually be.
And you know who just every second of Donald Gleason in this movie is pure gold.
Yes.
And him in that opening sequence, especially when that one other commander who's next to him says he's going for the cannons, and then he's like, oh, he's insane, and then you cut to him like flying and destroying all the cannons, and then you cut to Donald Gleason and he like steps forward and gets really worried. It's so funny.
Yeah,
he's actually like legitimately one of my new favorite characters, even though he's barely even in these
and
movies.
I think what makes him that way is that he has completely embraced his character. He knows that General Hux is not a joke, but he is so prideful and pompous in the First Order that he's just set up to fail.
Yeah.
And he's so just the way he acts with his face, the way he yells, it's just he is totally bought into this character and how he just interacts, and he's a really good villain. Okay, so this opening scene, it's not the opening scene. But another space fight when Kylo Ren takes out his TIE fighter.
Yes.
Yeah.
That was one of the best scenes in the entire movie.
Okay.
I've always loved the Darth Vader TIE fighter scene in A New Hope.
Yeah.
In fact, I think in our first episode I said the trash compactor scene was my favorite scene in A New Hope. I actually think it's when Darth Vader's in his TIE fighter.
That is a really good scene.
And Kylo Ren and his TIE fighter in this movie. Oh, and that when he spins and you get that shot inside the TIE fighter, the spinning shot, that has got to be like, that's so Rian Johnson too, but that's got to be like one of the coolest shots in the entire movie.
And I do have to say, it's extremely reminiscent of Anakin Skywalker's piloting in The Revenge of the Sith. I mean, the way that he's able to command his TIE fighter, it's seamless and it's effortless and it's so smooth, and I just thought it was so cool. But it leads to Superman Leia, or whatever you want to call it.
Okay. Now here's the thing. So Star Wars Episode 8 is a pretty shocking Star Wars movie in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
There's a lot of story beats and character arcs and ideas that we haven't seen in the franchise before. And that was pretty much the breaking point. When people see that in the movie, it's like, wait, what is happening right now?
Yeah.
And it's like that shocking seeing it for the first time, and then you go back and you watch it again, and you know what's coming, and it's actually pretty cool.
Okay.
And if you're wondering, like I was the first time you see it, like, oh, well, she's in space, there's no way she could possibly survive that. I also saw someone, I can't cite my sources again, but someone said she's still in the force field of the ship.
Oh.
So she's not technically in open space.
Interesting. Yeah, because they only blew up the bridge.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. I do have to say, I wasn't necessarily surprised that she could use the Force, just because she's a Skywalker and all that. It was just the way they did it, I thought was really... one of Garrett Ford actually said it was kind of like Mary Poppins, the way she was kind of floating through space.
Yeah. Even when I've come to terms with like the fact that it's actually pretty cool, that's still it's a little odd.
I don't necessarily have an issue with them making that decision. It's just that they never address it after the fact. They never talk about, wait, you can actually use the Force and you're actually that. I mean, the fact that she can do that, she's obviously pretty powerful. And then the rest of the movie, it's just, oh, it's Leia. No big deal.
Okay, I never even thought about that. That's a really good point. Something I want to say is that I actually didn't see a trailer before going into this movie, and I really think that was the way to go, because I did watch the trailer after I saw the movie, and it sets up expectations for where the story is going to go, but actually doesn't fulfill them in the movie. And this film, like I said, is shocking enough by itself. If you had thought you know where the story was headed before actually seeing it, I can definitely imagine being disappointed or underwhelmed by it.
I do have to say, I think that's where a lot of the backlash is coming from. I said this to my brother when I got home from the movie. I said, if you are a diehard Star Wars fan, I think you would be disappointed. But if you're just kind of a Star Wars fan and, I'll go see it. I enjoy movies. I think you will enjoy it a lot more, because it's still a Star Wars movie, but it's not. I don't think it's the cookie cutter structure of every other Star Wars movie.
Yeah, exactly. My brother John is a diehard Star Wars fan. He saw it with me last night. He was very disappointed by it. Yeah. And the thing is, this is less of I mean, it's a Star Wars movie for sure, but this is like a film made by a guy who is really good at making them.
Yeah.
And he made it his own.
Who just happens to love Star Wars.
Yeah, he just happens to love Star Wars, right. And, you know, I get that this is a Star Wars movie and everyone has such high expectations for this franchise, but I genuinely love how risky Rian Johnson's approach was to this movie.
Yeah, he has set it up to go in an entirely new direction, and I have to say, I'm interested to see what J.J. Abrams is going to do with Episode 9, because he can't necessarily do a remake of Return of the Jedi.
Certainly will not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that's going to be interesting, and I think Episode 9 is set up for immense success, because J.J. Abrams was able to capture a lot of the aspects and the nostalgia that people loved from the original trilogy and blend it with something new and new characters. And now he's going to be able to take this new story and still infuse it with everything that people love about Star Wars.
Yeah. My main issue with this movie, and I bring it up now because I don't necessarily... I do think Episode 9 is going to be quite good, but I am just hoping not to see so much of this in that. And it's the Rose and Finn relationship, and really their entire subplot, actually.
It's pointless.
It is.
Really.
Well, yeah, see, I thought so. The one thing that does come out of it is Benicio del Toro gives up their evacuation plan, which leads us into the pretty incredible third act, which wouldn't have happened if... But, yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna retract what I said. It's not pointless, it's fruitless. I do okay.
And it's totally different from what the movie was doing.
Yeah,
because all of a sudden it becomes like this animal rescue.
yeah, that was the thing. I feel like they existed for more of a political commentary by going to that gambling planet or gambling world where only the rich are there.
That's what it is. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's kind of like the proletariat versus the bourgeoisie. But
we just took finals.
Yeah, we did. It's tough though because they need something for Finn to do. They can't just keep him in a coma for the entire movie, or else everyone would just be up in arms of, oh, what happened to Finn?
Right.
We loved him in Episode 7. But come on.
Yeah.
Rose was...
And look, I get the idea behind her character. It's basically a nobody who finally gets her chance to work in the Rebel Alliance and actually do some stuff. But she's just... There's not too much other than that to latch onto. And I wouldn't even say the romance that starts to blossom towards the end is forced, because it just comes out of nowhere. The friendship maybe is forced, but the romance just
it seemed more like a big brother younger sister relationship to me,
and
then she just tries to kiss him out of nowhere.
I think that's fine. I think if there was just a friendship, then that would be great. I would love to see that developed a little more. But if they're going, and the thing is, I understand that Rian Johnson is really trying to subvert expectations here, and that's great. Mm-hmm. And the expectation that he's trying to subvert here is that Finn and Rey are going to get together.
Okay.
But honestly, that's the better path, I think.
Yeah. But okay. I do think Finn has a larger role in the story as Rey's friend. I think that he's going to play a critical role in Episode 9 in influencing Rey's path.
And then something else, back to the Rose Finn thing. When Finn is about to sacrifice himself,
it would have been perfect.
It would have been awesome.
I was so excited.
And then and then Rose just flies in and knocks him out of the way.
She ruined everything.
She ruined it. And then of course if Finn had sacrificed himself, maybe we wouldn't have gotten the awesome battle with Mark Hamill and Kylo Ren.
Yeah.
But it's just it didn't work.
No, I was sitting there watching Finn go towards the battering ram thing, and I was thinking,
yes.
Okay.
I was thinking,
oh, he's actually going to do this, and then I leaned forward in my seat, and there wasn't necessarily a sense of we're about to lose him. It was more of excitement because he's about to do this great act.
Yeah.
And then out of nowhere, Rose just crashes into him.
I know.
Nearly kills both of them.
That's a good point. That's a good
Why?
point.
And then she has the cheesy line, "We're not going to win this by fighting what we hate. We're gonna win it by saving what we love." And when she said that, I just went, "Oh."
Yeah. So big problems with those characters and their storyline. But that's it for me. That is the only big issue I have with this movie.
Yeah.
I think this is a great Star Wars movie.
Yeah. No, I really enjoyed it.
I think this movie reaches further heights than The Force Awakens, but because we have 20 minutes with this casino thing and these really weird decisions made by these characters, the pacing suffers more than it did in The Force Awakens.
Yeah, I would say the beginning is very well paced. The middle drags when we're cutting in between the plot A, plot B, and then the end. Oh my goodness, with
Incredible.
When Luke appears to come back, but he's real. Oh, and I'm so glad they did this. When Kylo Ren and Rey are having their battle and they tear the lightsaber in half, Luke comes back with the blue lightsaber, and I said, "Wait a second, that's not possible."
Yeah.
And whenever it was revealed that he actually wasn't there and he was just using the Force to portray his image in Kylo Ren's mind, I thought, "Thank you."
Yeah.
The continuity in this movie, I think, is pretty good. I have heard some things about the timelines being off because fuel reserves are low, but yet Rey is able to go through almost a week of training with Luke and stuff. But here's the other thing. Rey is there at the end of episode 7, and so maybe we're seeing stuff that already happened, and then she's already had her training, maybe, and then...
So it's like Dunkirk.
Yeah, exactly. We kind of have some Dunkirk action going on.
Yeah.
I thought the interactions between Rey and Kylo Ren through the Force, I thought those were really cool.
Yeah, so The Force Awakens puts a lot of focus on characterization, which of course it has to because we're getting new characters. Mm-hmm. And then that makes The Last Jedi, it makes it able to play more with dynamics between characters.
Yeah.
And the world is expanded a lot in this movie, but it's that Force connection between Rey and Luke not Rey and Luke, Rey and Kylo that makes it seem a little bit smaller.
Yeah.
And a little easier to get a grip on.
Definitely.
And that action-heavy third act is really great because it's propped up on 2 full acts of characterization and internal struggle and all this cool stuff. I do want to talk about the Praetorian Guard fight.
Okay.
Which is pretty much what I just said. It's like it's incredibly well choreographed. It's incredibly well shot. But the reason it's so thrilling is because of these dynamics between Kylo and Rey that were advanced beforehand.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we finally. The entire time, you know that Kylo Ren is just having this massive internal struggle, and his character has so much added to it in this movie, and he becomes a really likable character, I think, even though he's still kind of a villain, and to get to see him and Rey fight together is so exciting.
See, that's a scene that ranks up with some of my favorites of all time.
Are they Praetorian Guards? I thought they were the Knights of Ren.
Are they the Knights of Ren?
That's what I had heard. So
they look very similar to Praetorian Guards.
Yeah,
what they are.
They had different weapons though, and there were a lot more of them. And I think I was discussing this with someone else. Whenever Luke is kind of giving the flashback or telling Rey the story about his relationship with Kylo Ren, and he says whenever he destroyed the temple, he killed some of his apprentices and took others. And I heard that the Knights of Ren were those other apprentices that Kylo Ren took with him.
Okay.
And I think that also explains why the fight wasn't that easy. I mean, it took a while for Rey and Kylo Ren to take them down, and they got hurt in the process.
And of course they would have their best guards up where Snoke is.
Yeah, but even they couldn't stop Snoke from dying.
Right.
Which do you want to talk about that?
Yeah.
Okay.
So good. So
yes,
good.
yes, I loved it. I thought they did a really good job of setting up Snoke as this really powerful being. Just the way that he's able to use the Force and just move Rey around with just the wave of his finger. Mm-hmm. And the sound editing is good. You can feel the motion. You can feel it in your chest. And then, bam, like that, he's gone. And it's one of the coolest scenes when you see Kylo Ren start to turn his finger and use the Force on the lightsaber. I do have one question, though. If Snoke is so powerful, how did he not notice?
Oh, well, see that I had this problem too, but Snoke can see Kylo Ren's intentions to a degree, but he can't see how they're going to play out. So he was saying like, and he turns the lightsaber, and Snoke didn't know it was like the lightsaber next to him
because Kylo was turning his lightsaber.
He was turning his lightsaber.
Okay.
And he said he kills his true enemy. So Snoke knows that he's going to kill his true enemy. He just doesn't know that he's the true enemy. Yeah.
That's brilliant writing.
Really cool.
That's brilliant.
Yeah.
Man, whenever there's this, I just now noticed this. What's the deal with Kylo Ren and off-screen lightsaber ignitions to kill someone? I mean, it happened with Han Solo and now with Snoke, but whenever it happened,
the light of lightsabers is much cooler than the actual lightsaber itself.
Whenever it when it happened, I almost wanted to cheer just because
people did second time around.
Okay, just because you think that Kylo Ren has turned the corner, and the idea of him turning to the is it the light side? I don't like saying the good side, and the light side sounds weird, but the idea of that is so exciting to me because I love him as a character, and to not be able to fully root for him up to this point because he's still with the First Order is kind of tough, but the prospect of fully being behind him and supporting him is so exciting, and I feel like we might be able to do that in Episode 9.
Yeah. He's just one of the best characters ever.
Yeah. Adam Driver does a phenomenal job.
He was absolutely perfect.
Mm-hmm. I do want to talk about the flashbacks between Kylo Ren and Luke. We get to see 3 separate flashbacks, one from the point of view from Luke, one from the point of view of Kylo Ren, and then another one from the point of view of Luke. And each time we learned something more about the story. And I thought those were great scenes. Each time I saw a flashback, I thought, I love this. This is a good movie.
Yeah.
Particularly the first, I guess the only, Kylo Ren's interpretation.
Where Mark Hamill is looking over him.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the look of pure rage and horror in Luke Skywalker's face, it sent chills through my body. Mm-hmm. And not even of... Well, I was definitely scared of him, but it was so cool.
Yeah, that was the moment where I was fully ready to get behind this movie.
Yes, and... Oh, man. I would have been really, really... really happy, not happy, but I would have been really satisfied and excited
if they had gone that direction.
If it had turned out that Kylo was the victim and Luke was actually the villain. Yeah. But man, I can't say that I'm disappointed because that was still an incredible scene. But then I feel like Luke's second interpretation of the events does do a good job of how he does feel the rage. He doesn't deny that. He has an internal struggle of his own, but he acknowledges that he had made the mistake. He owns what he had done, and he says that it was just a fleeting moment, and he was gonna disengage his lightsaber, but then Kylo saw him, and then man, it's just so good. Yeah. I think the flashbacks were I really enjoyed those. I really enjoyed Supreme Leader Snoke's ship. I thought that was really cool.
That was pretty awesome. And then that showed it just coming out of nowhere, and then it was
and then it was huge. And then that leads right into my third favorite part, and that was the jump to light speed at the end of the movie. That kind of concluded the third act, or the first half of the third act in a sense. I thought that was incredible.
You're talking about the Millennium Falcon, right?
No. I'm talking about the last Resistance airship. When what's her face? Laura Dern. Yeah. I don't know her character's name, but whenever she jumps into light speed and just cuts the ship in half, it was brilliant editing by cutting out the sound right as they jumped to light speed. And even though there was no sound, I felt the impact in my chest of when she just cut straight through Snoke's ship.
Uh-huh.
I mean, the theater was dead silent.
Yeah.
It was incredible. It might be in my top 5 favorite Star Wars moments, just because of how it was so unexpected. Because we've never seen. I mean, we've seen a jump to light speed, but we haven't seen a jump to light speed with those stakes and with those consequences. And to have something that we've kind of known about for 7 movies instantly have a new take and new implications was so exciting, and it was just so cool and brilliantly edited.
Yeah, that's what this movie does so well. It brings us so many things we haven't seen before. And something that I think is really funny and actually bodes well for how this movie will be perceived in the future is that everyone loved The Force Awakens when it first came out. And it was only afterwards that people began to compare it to A New Hope, and some people started to dislike it. And all people wanted for this movie was something original and something they'd never seen before.
Yep.
But this film hasn't been exactly perceived very well so far. But I think people will begin to appreciate this movie a little more once all of the admittedly pretty shocking turns that this movie takes are less shocking, and people will start to look for what's driving them.
I think second and third viewings will definitely help it, and you can speak to that because you have seen it a second time. So, what differences did you notice in your first and second viewings?
Well, the first viewing, I didn't want to say anything until I saw it again because I knew that I was weighing expectations slightly, and it just wasn't really at all what I was expecting it to be. So I wanted to just take what I was being given, and that's what I did the second time. And things are a lot less shocking, and you can get behind them. You can see what Rian Johnson's intentions are much clearer, and it does enhance the movie the second time around.
That's good. Audience score of 57% on Rotten Tomatoes.
It's 93 critics, 57 audience.
Yeah, it's kind of sad. I saw a tweet. It was 2015 reactions to The Force Awakens. Oh, we hate it. It's just like A New Hope. And then it said 2017 reactions to The Last Jedi. It's nothing like The Empire Strikes Back. We hate it.
Yeah.
Pick a side.
Exactly. But that's why I think this movie's gonna be thought of maybe even more highly than The Force Awakens in the coming years.
In my opinion, I think it's better than The Force Awakens.
Okay.
Which is there anything else you want to say?
That's about it.
I think we've covered all bases.
Yeah.
I think we do need a quick Porg mention. I thought they were good.
I thought they were really good.
It was a strange blend of CGI and practical effects.
Mm-hmm. And see, the Ewoks don't even bother me as much as they seem to bother everyone else.
No, yeah, I'm fine with it.
So yeah,
I thought
I love Star Wars creatures.
Yeah, I thought the first interaction we got with them and Chewbacca was hilarious,
yes.
and it kind of tugged at your heartstrings a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Speaking of CGI and practical effects blends, what about Yoda?
Everyone seemed to think it didn't look like the Yoda in The Empire Strikes Back. I didn't really see a huge difference. I liked the scene, and then I liked. Yeah, I mean, I didn't have a problem with Yoda at all.
I did like the scene. I thought that it didn't look exactly the same. As soon as I saw him, I kind of thought, wait, what?
Yeah.
I feel like it was a puppet, and then they went back in and added the kind of the ghost effect with the CGI.
Uh-huh.
But no, I thought the scene was good. It was fun to see a callback to The Empire Strikes Back with a Luke and Yoda interaction. Yeah, I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
So, do you want to jump into your Star Wars rankings as they stand now?
Sure, we can do that. Yeah.
Okay.
Do you want to go from best to worst, worst to best?
Let's go worst to best.
Yeah, that's the way to do it.
Yep.
Okay. All right, let me just pull it up. All right, here we go. Number 9 is The Phantom Menace.
Yep.
Number 8 is Attack of the Clones. Those two are basically the interchangeable ones. Mm-hmm. I can get behind a definitive ranking that has either one of those at 8 or 9. 7 is Revenge of the Sith. The prequels are just the worst ones to me. If I included Rogue One, it would be here at number 6. Did I say 6 for Revenge of the Sith?
No, you said 7.
Okay. So number 5, I'm putting The Last Jedi. I do think it's going to grow on me. I still love it, of course, at this point, but I do think it's going to get even better. Return of the Jedi, number 4. Then The Force Awakens at number 3.
Okay.
I still love The Force Awakens.
Okay.
And that was also just one of my favorite theater experiences ever. 2, of course, is A New Hope, and then 1 is The Empire Strikes Back.
All right. Mine, starting off at the very bottom, I think it's going to have to be The Phantom Menace. I think the Darth Maul fight scene at the end is incredible, but it can't save that movie.
Honestly, I watched the Darth Maul fight scene yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
That's not even that good, I don't think, anymore.
I think it's remembered as being so good because the entire movie you're just waiting for it, and then when you finally get it, it's just finally.
Yeah.
Now we get to watch Star Wars. Number 2, Attack of the Clones. 3, Revenge of the Sith.
Yeah, so we agree on.
I really like General Grievous. I don't know. I'm stuck between putting Revenge of the Sith above Rogue One. Yeah. I don't know.
I just think the Darth Vader scene at the end of Rogue One gives it at least like half a point.
Yeah, probably. So Rogue One at 4. At 5, I'm gonna go The Force Awakens.
Okay.
I liked it, but I didn't love it. So that's 5. At 4, I'm gonna go Last Jedi.
Okay.
And this is again based on one viewing. I feel like my opinion on it will change after seeing it a second time, just like yours did. 3, Return of the Jedi. 2, Empire Strikes Back, and 1, A New Hope.
Okay, so you have all of the original ones, first 3, all the new ones,
in the middle.
Yeah, in the middle,
and then
prequels last. Yeah.
All right. Really quickly, where do you think Episode 9 is headed?
Okay. Well, first of all, they got to deal with Carrie Fisher.
Yeah.
She's alive at the end of this movie, which is kind of interesting. Everyone expected her character to just be killed off, of course.
Yeah. Which nearly happened in the first 20 minutes.
Yeah, right.
We had discussed possibly them taking some of the shots from Episode 8 and repurposing them, but
if they have stuff that they shot that didn't make the cut, apparently the first cut was like 3.5 hours, so they could have extra footage of Carrie Fisher that they want to use in Episode 9.
I would love to see a 3-hour cut of The Last Jedi. Oh well. So there's an interesting. I think we were discussing this. We're not sure. There's a rumor going around that Rey actually took the original Jedi texts with her before the tree temple thing burned down.
Right.
If that is true, I think we will see a turn of Rey to the dark side.
Really?
Yes. Whenever her and Luke are first beginning the training and she's kind of sitting on the stone and he says, what do you see? Not the joking time, the second time. And she sees the dark and she goes straight to it. And Luke recognizes that and he says, wow, you went straight to the dark. And he at that point he says, I'm done, I'm out.
Yeah.
They never addressed that again. And so I think that was planted for everyone to kind of forget about. And because at the end you see her, she's heroic and she triumphs. She says no to Kylo Ren and his idea of just abolishing everything.
Right.
I think she's going to meddle with some of the old ways that Luke was trying to get rid of. And I think that her tendency to go to the dark non-intentionally at the very beginning, because she just goes straight there, and then when she actually goes into that little pit thing, she goes there willingly.
Yeah.
I think that's going to come back, and she's going to twist, and I think we're going to end up with her and Kylo Ren swapping sides, which I think is very exciting.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like only Kylo could potentially switch sides.
You don't think Rey's going to swap?
I don't see them going that far.
Okay.
I see maybe an internal struggle like Kylo has in this, but
I do think the potential
Rey
for
is like a Sith Lord.
I think the potential for Kylo Ren to swap is really high, because now that Luke is gone and he's done his Jedi spirit thing, he just kind of vanished. I think he's going to have more of a presence in Kylo Ren's mind, because he can kind of hop around now as one of the Jedi ghosts. and I think that's going to influence Kylo Ren's actions in the second movie. I think Luke is going to be able to reveal what he was actually thinking in that moment of betrayal between him and Kylo.
Yeah. And
maybe there's going to be reconciliation. Maybe it's not going to work, and Kylo could go even darker.
Honestly, I think that's where they're going to go, because now he's like the top of the First Order. So he's basically gotten what he wants, I think.
Well, no, because what's interesting is that he wants the First Order abolished.
He wanted he wanted the First Order abolished when he wanted to rule with Rey.
Mm-hmm.
That may or may not have been just because, like, if he got Rey to rule with him, then he would want to abolish the First Order.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
It's going to be very exciting to see what happens. I had one more thing. What was it? We were talking about Luke, Leia, Kylo Ren, Rey.
Was it about Finn?
I don't. We kind of already talked about that.
There's not much to talk about him anyway.
Dang it! What was it? There was one thing. I can't remember. Oh well. Dang it!
Maybe you can put it in the comments on this video.
Okay. So.
Grades.
Yeah, grades.
All right, let's do it. I would have been lower on my first viewing.
Okay.
But I give it a 4 out of 5.
All right. Mm-hmm. That's what I gave it as well.
Okay, cool.
It's, if you haven't, well, if you're watching this, you have seen it. I would not listen to your first reactions, I think
that's smart. Yeah.
In the heat of the moment, impulsive decisions are not going to be the ones that you end up supporting, because you're either going to be really high on the movie because, it's something new and fresh, or you're going to be kind of down on it because that's not what I was expecting.
Yeah, my brother said, well, should you have to see a Star Wars movie twice to know whether or not you like it? Because he said he has never had to see a Star Wars movie twice to know whether he's liked it.
Mm-hmm.
But that's never happened before. It doesn't mean it can't happen.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I think this is like a prime example of a movie, not just a Star Wars movie, but a movie that like you need to see twice to have a definitive opinion on it, because it's just so different from what everyone was expecting.
Yeah, and I do think Rian Johnson he has announced that he's going to start his own separate Star Wars trilogy, separate from the Skywalker saga, and I think that's going to be incredible, because he's already established that, hey, I can make something new out of something that everyone is already familiar with and loves. So imagine when he's going to have entire creative control over his new piece of the Star Wars pie. I think it's going to be incredible.
Yes. Do you know when the first one comes out?
I don't. I think
probably not for a while.
Yeah,
not until at least episode 9.
Because next they have the solo movie. Mm-hmm. Then they have episode 9, and then I think they have another offshoot. I think it's between a Boba Fett and Obi-Wan Kenobi movie, something like that.
Yeah, I did hear about that.
And then after that, I think it's time for Rian Johnson's new trilogy, which is going to be really exciting.
Yeah.
That's all I have to say about The Last Jedi. I really liked it. So let's get into our recommends. I'm going to recommend a book, actually, that's about to become a movie by who I want to direct episode 9 if he could, Steven Spielberg. Ready Player One is coming out in 2018, and it looks really good. I'm in the middle of reading the book right now. I'm really enjoying it. It has a bunch of references to 80s culture that I'm not really familiar with, and so getting to read about all these things and then go look it up and see what video games were like in card games and all these kind of these pop culture references that have been lost with this new age of technology. It's really interesting, and I can't wait for the movie. It's got Ben Mendelsohn in, who I love. Cool. Ty Sheridan, interesting choice.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm really excited for it, and the book I'm really enjoying it so far.
Alrighty. My recommend is The Disaster Artist. It's great. You should familiarize yourself with The Room before you see it.
Oh,
It will
gosh.
improve your overall experience. Watch it with friends, but just know that it'll be awkward at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's probably the funniest movie I've seen so far this year.
That's good.
And I really hope to see a James Franco nomination. He won't win because he's up against Daniel Day-Lewis this year, but that would be amazing.
I've actually heard that Phantom Thread, Daniel Day-Lewis's performance isn't quite as good as his other ones.
Really?
I heard that, I don't know her name, but the actress, the actress that he goes up against, not up against, but the leading actress. I've heard that she does a much better job.
Wow.
So yeah, I'm interested to see where that goes. Hopefully, Blade Runner gets some nominations. It didn't get anything at the Golden Globes.
Yes. Yeah. We will have a full Oscars episode. That'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah. End of the year, it's coming Oscar season.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's gonna be really exciting. But for now, I think that wraps up episode 9 of Movie Talks. Once again, I'm Jared.
And I'm Daniel.
And we will see you next time. Thanks for watching.